Bongsu, thank you so much for coming on to do an interview with us today. I'm really excited to share your story and really learn about robotics. Robotics was sort of a really fun thing when I was growing up, and I was always interested in it. Never got to work in robotics myself, but hopefully I can live through vicariously through you and your experience today. With that, start us off with sort of how you got into robotics and what's your background for this industry.
All
Tell
right.
us about that.
All right. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. And then I'm excited to share my story with you all. So, yeah, the in terms of the robots interest, it started from very younger age. I draw like a robotic hand when I was in like a fifth grade, something like that. As this, and always making something by my hand, and then that's kind of my life. So, but the journey is started from around, I guess, 15 years ago. And I started my career after finishing my PhD at South Korea, the master degree at South Korea, and got into corporation and research centers. And then I was doing some sort of the dynamic system and control kind of research and project there. During that time, I was always kind of dreaming of study more robotics. And then, but at the time, my one of best friends actually attended the same KAIST. Is called KAIST, the master degree I had it. So he unfortunately had a Lou Gehrig's disease. So yeah, and then he tried to find a variety of like a treatment, including robotic exoskeleton, something like that. So, and then with my original intention, interested in the robotics, and then his kind of needs. So I decided to go pursue a robotic rehabilitation study. So I quit my job after 6 years of working there, and then I moved to US in for pursuing PhD in University of Texas at Austin. So I started my PhD program in 2011, and then had 5 years work on the especially upper body exoskeleton robot development. So, and then I started from scratch, like making like a robotic kind of design, and then making robot by wood, and then it's all sort of stage I experienced. And then luckily it's at the end of the design, we paired with at the time is robot company called Mecca, and then we had a kind of finer, beautiful version of the prototype. And then we participated in the South by Southwest event. Mm-hmm. And then from that point, it's a lot of attention from multimedia, and people got into this robot, and myself and my advisor. So, and naturally, I was drawn into many discussions with like school, some investors, and or even the incubator program in UT Austin system, and so, and that's how I kind of get into this more like a serious robotics world.
Right. Yeah. No, that sounds really interesting, and it seems like you've been doing robotics for a very long time, almost 10 years now, right? You said mm-hmm. you started in 2011. So
yes,
that's fantastic. Tell me about what sort of led you up to this company, and I understand you were working with your advisors before. Is that the sort of how you got into this?
Actually, it's a yes or no, because it triggers my interest in startups. Actually, because of that, the previous events with my development on the robotic exoskeleton and all the attention, or as people kind of many people actually wanted to see that it's coming into the commercial market to have benefit of it. So got a lot of like contact from therapists and patients, and actually we did some of clinical trial with that even. So, and so as I said earlier, and we got a lot of discussion about potential commercialization with environment of a school, myself and my advisor and third-party company. But after about a year of discussion, so I found that I don't know, is a pursuance of that vision of their the discussion is not aligned with mine. And also I wanted to pursue, if I have to do startup, I want to pursue more imminent, more broader issues in robotics society, and then make it more bigger impact on the relevant industries. So rather than focusing solely on robotic rehabilitation. So, and yeah, also the system that I developed during my PhD also lacks some portion of key component of robotic system, which is kind of actuator. So, and I also want to develop that. So that was kind of my desire was misaligned with the others. So I decided to start my startup alone, independently. So that's how started this company.
Got it. And that's really interesting because the work in exoskeleton is actually directly related to sort of building this arm in LinkDyn. So tell me a little bit more about LinkDyn Robotics, I should say, and what the vision was. Now that you do want to work with actuators and these your experience in exoskeletons.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, the previous exoskeleton lacks some kind of key aspects of robotic kind of technology, and so I wanted to develop that. And because it's in robotic rehabilitation, it's key aspects of it is how to interact with people. So that is a key portion of how you restore the lost motor function of people. So previously the most robot is rely on conventional industrial robot technology, which is about more like a position control that controls the robot itself precisely as it designed. So, but that kind of precise movement with the very rigid kind of characteristic does not work well with the human body, because human body is moving slowly. It's not like moving like robot like this, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it needs some special kind of actuator that controls force instead of control position. So, but in the commercial market, there's not such kind of commercial grade high performance force control actuator that drive the robot in different ways. So I want to start with that. So we applied kind of NSF SBIR program in vision of this developing this new actuator technology, which is a root kind of component of any robot system. So luckily we got into the NSF SBIR program, and then we started this company from, it's as always, in the garage, and then we lived there for a year, machining, and I don't know, do all sort of things in the 100 Fahrenheit garage.
Yeah, this is in Austin, right?
Yeah. So, and luckily we really kind of came up with the high performance kind of like a new type of actuators that never seen before in the commercial market. So
interesting.
Yeah, that allows us to develop variety of type of robots, but at the time we have to focus on, okay, what's our pursuit? What's kind of maximum kind of impact of this technology? So of course it's because it's people got draw stuff from they know, right? So I kind of started thinking about robotics rehabilitation again. because now I have better key components, and then now I can do better, even better. So I believe that. So we start thinking of putting this kind of key technology into the another type of robotic rehabilitation device, some other more advanced exoskeleton type. So and then after start working on that, but we start to getting some of feedback from business experts, even the some like a business reviewer from SBIR program saying that okay, as a small startup pursuing the like a medical industry is great, but it's you probably have a lot of difficulties getting into that the market, because it's their bar is so high, and also you have to get through the FDA approval, and so maybe it takes years before you enter the market, and so probably have a hard time to survive even. So from that point, we were thinking about another like a application with this new technology. So that is about like some more. Of course, this technology is more of a human robot natural interaction. So we switch it to haptic kind of operation, haptic device application. So when you look at VR, you touch the table or object, and then you feel the buzz, the vibration, but you don't actually feel the resistance when you touch it, right? So, but our robot system deliver you precise force as you touch like a table or something. So actually we implemented it, and then when you touch in the virtual world, is you can actually feel the wall, or you can squeeze a rubber ball, or you can like shoot a gun and you can feel recoil, things like that. It was pretty interesting. And then people liked it and they amazed about it. However, the problem is again, is VR market and AR market is growing, and then many people are expecting, but it's still is not broadly kind of spread it yet because of some more technologies and price problem, things like that. So even you want to include a haptic device into it, but it's much more expensive than Google and any other devices. So yeah, it's kind of market is too early for we realize that.
Right. So let me ask you this. I definitely understand that the VR market is too early, but I hope you're protecting your technology. Talk to me about any patents or anything that you might have filed for the technology you've developed, because obviously it has tremendous potential.
Yeah, so as I said, it's the key technologies is our force control actuator technology, and we filed a patent about 2 years and half ago, I guess.
Okay.
And then we filed in multinational patents too. So it's about to get an official action, but still we are waiting for the final decision. So, and that's kind of one of the key patent for us. And also we filed for including the controllability for haptic kind of feedback. And then we also filed a patent for how to control this robot using these force control actuators. And and also we are, we are again after the haptic feedback, we are switching to the more industrial automation application, and that of course is a manipulation. You need a hand, you need a gripper, right? So, but the gripper also is kind of big part of the how you deal with the stuff and how effectively you grasp or like manipulating it. Yeah. So we also developed our own like a versatile gripper as well to deal with a variety of size items, as well as like a soft or rigid kind of object, whatever you want. So we also filed a patent for that. And also we are going to file the big kind of chunk of patent describing whole entire autonomous mobile manipulator robot itself. So including robot arm, gripper, and then lifting column, and the autonomous mobile robot, and all sort of things. So we first, because as an early stage startup, you have to even save the money for the patent filing. It's huge, right? So yeah, what we are doing is, for example, we want to eventually file each kind of technology for each patent, but now we just assemble all together and then put in one big giant provisional patent, and then we later do the individual patent filing.
So that's good. That I'm glad you're looking at the IP protection also. But this is a perfect transition to your first product that you're developing. It's not for gaming. It's not for any other market. It's really, you're going after the industrial market.
That's right.
Where you have essentially a moving robot that can pick up items from shelf and collect them and deliver them to the target. So describe the actual functionality and the use case for that product first.
Yeah. So first of all, our main problem we are mainly trying to solve is to automate mundane human tasks, especially in workplaces, including warehouses. So to do that, as I said, is we need mobility and then manipulator, and then AI perception and gripper, all sort of kind of harmonized coordination among those kind of technologies. So to go into specifically for warehouse automation, things like that, and then it needs a little bit more development in AI perception side, including machine learning, and then all the robots, multi-robot group control, and then integration into warehouse management system, WMS, things like that. So it takes a little bit more time, but maybe a year from now or a year and a half, something like that. But we want to make a revenue early on. We want to grab a low-hanging fruit first, right? So instead of waiting all the way into the full development, because we already almost completed development of the hardware and the pretty basic intelligence in it. So, and then we think we can sell it to another companies or other research centers who want some kind of this research or develop another application solution out of this our robot, because there's not much comparable system out there. So, for example, we have a partner company. We have contract with a Singaporean company called SFAS. So they are automation solution distributor to the Singapore and the Malaysian and other East Asian market. And then they wanted to do create a new business model toward robotic rehabilitation, because there's a lot of huge push by the Singaporean government that increase the quality of life of their senior citizen. So, and because they already know about the robots and they know about the limitation of the existing robots. So, and they started looking around the alternative solution, and they came across us, and then they contacted us to use our robots. So at the end of it, we got contracted, and now we are delivering first mobile manipulator robot next month. So yeah, so with that first unit, they'll go through around 1 month of clinical trial, and then they're going to a marketing throughout the first Singaporean hospitals. So they already have some interesting, enthusiastic customers in their network. So, and then they are going to marketing and sales activities, and we are providing the completed product to them. So, and with that, and then they also expand their market toward the entire Asian market. including
Nice.
Korean, Japan, and Chinese. So that's
Right.
kind of next move.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
tell me about the use case of this robot. I want to make sure I understand. It's not for home use, right?
Yes, it's for clinical use.
Clinical
Actually,
use.
yes.
Okay.
I said before, it's our intention with this, our mobile manipulator robot, is to automate mundane human tasks in workplaces.
Right.
So you can consider this user application is to automate therapist function in clinical part. So,
Okay.
for example, if you have a stroke patients and then you have paralyzed arm and you need like a rehabilitation exercise, and what the therapist is doing is they grab the like a patient's elbow and wrist and they just draw it like a move, provide a kind of motion.
Right.
Yeah, to facilitate the motor recovery. But there's a limitation or time constraint because it's a one therapist that have to solely contribute to one patient.
One patient. Right.
Yeah. So what we are going to do is with that mobile robot, we actually replacing the hand of the therapist. So at the
Right.
end of the mobile platform robot arm, we are attaching some kind of arm cuff that where patient can rest their arm on it and then do the exact same thing as the therapist is doing. So therapist, because our robot is kind of very special, it's a robot can move around. I mean, the patient can move around very freely. So
Right.
having some assistive force, it's like as if you are in the pool, the water. So you have a buoyancy assistance, and you can also have some of a very smooth and resistance or something.
Right.
And also we can add some assistive force too. So, and the therapist can teach the desired motion by actually showing his actual movement, and then the robot memorize it and then repeat it, that motion kind of
Got it.
as demanded.
That's really interesting. So this is, the initial thought I had was, bringing lunch to the patient or something like that. This goes well beyond it because you're actually assisting the patient with the therapy. So you're
That's right.
working directly with humans one-on-one.
Yeah, that's right.
Really interesting.
That's
Okay.
right.
By the way, without giving any specific examples, can you tell me approximately how many units you're expecting to go to Singapore in the first round and once they sort of broaden out? Are we talking about 10, 20 units? Are we talking about a couple of hundreds or, order of magnitude?
Maybe this year, I would say maybe it's like a 10 to 20 units, I guess.
Okay.
Depending on their like a sales performance and the marketing kind of research.
Right.
But I expected maybe from next year or something, we expect even much more like a number of sales because we are going to expand to the other countries. So,
right.
And then first we targeting the Asian market, but pretty soon we'll pursue like a European and North American market together. So in that case, maybe they might still continue to sales and marketing activity on their own while we just providing the finished product. I guess because it's a sales and marketing activity on the medical device market also needs a lot of specialty and devotion. So because our main course is also kind of try to automate another like a mundane human task, especially in warehouse or something is for much bigger market. So we cannot devote into that business activities. So instead, so we are just act as a supplier. So hopefully, maybe from next year or something, is kind of the sales will ramp up.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense, and the way you're structuring it also makes sense. And this is maybe the perfect transition to talking about your team and how you're sort of scaling up. I understand this sort of started as sort of a family project with you and your wife working together in the beginning. She obviously provides a lot of support. But tell me about sort of how she's involved, but more importantly, how you now growing the team, right? I think you have maybe about 6 people working on this. So how are you sort of visualizing that team growing over
Uh,
time?
yeah. So first of all, at the current status, as I said, we have a total of 6, including myself, and then my wife helping me like this kind of all the operation, and as well as we discussing about this kind of every business perspectives. Actually, is kind of how we like approach to like kind of investors, or like how we can tell our stories, and then things like that. From the strategy kind of perspective, we share all the opinions, but in practically she kind of making those all the PowerPoint kind of
Yeah,
files. She is good at designing, and then also she's doing some marketing activities, and also she's making our homepage, and also do
perfect.
like accountings, and then also she's helping the SBIR operation. So there's a lot of like a kind of paperwork, and then some
Yep.
of reporting things, and those of her main goal, main activities, and but so, and others are all the brilliant engineers, and so, but to grow our business even further, we definitely need more kind of core team members in our business perspectives. So, for example, we try to raise this seed round um, um, to expand our some business capacity. So we want to hire sales person or other kind of business members to grow
Got
our business further
got it.
into some warehouse application, things like that.
Got it.
So yeah, in that case, maybe for example, my wife may be more dedicated on the marketing perspectives.
Yep.
So, and then we may have some COO, or like I don't know, VP of sales, and also
Yep.
kind of gray hair
Got it.
senior kind of
And
folks.
and also, how are you actually manufacturing the robots? Are you doing that in-house with your team, or is that something that's outsourced?
So probably you saw our robot how it looks, and
Hmm.
then you can consider this robot is kind of made the almost entirely in-house.
Okay.
Of course, you kind of when you make something, for example, you have to machine it some parts using CNC machining, or like some older kind of machining kind of methodology, but you cannot have
Hmm.
all the machine, right? So
Right.
we kind of order that parts from Chinese manufacturer, or the UK manufacturer, US manufacturer, to get all the stuff here. Of course, parts that we designed. So,
Right.
and then bring it here, and then simple parts we can manufacture kind of machining in-house.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the day, we collect all the parts, and then of course including off-the-shelf parts, and we assemble it here, and then we calibrate, and we put all the low-level control and the high-level control or software package here, and then do the all sort of work here. So
Got it.
including AI
Got it.
perception.
Perfect. Perfect. No, this is fantastic. Just now, I want to just touch on the growth trajectory for 2021 and beyond. You've already said that this deal with Singapore and Asia, you've sort of laid out the plan where they'll sort of expand over time. What's your perspective on where the company will be by end of the year or over the next 3 years, maybe?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we also understand that this hardware startup and then selling hardware product is somewhat hard. Also, it's a kind of it's a scalable, but it's not as a scalable as other. I don't know. It's a subscribe based kind of business model.
Hmm.
So we understand that perspectives, and so we want to go into actually eventually subscription model business kind of is these days is called RAS, robot as a service, right?
Right.
So, and then of course for that RAS model we need a kind of big kind of market pool already. So it's a one of the like a blue ocean in the robot market is kind of warehouse, and then like a customer fulfillment center,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So where people like picking items and then transporting and then sorting and then packaging and shipping out, right? So these days, many robots companies, actually tens of companies, are working on autonomous mobile robot, which has just mobile platform with the autonomous driving and then without arm sort of thing.
Right.
So they proved market that they have pretty good ROI, return of investment. So,
Mm-hmm.
but many experts and then market analysts expect that next big wave will be come with the autonomous mobile manipulator robot that we are doing it, and so to further automate human tasks in workplaces. So that's why we are pursuing some kind of warehouse or manufacturing kind of picking automation out of our robot. So maybe in next couple of years, within couple of years, we expect we finish development for this the picking automation functionality, and then we start business with RAS, and then that's kind of course. Uh, Before that time coming, we have to also need some kind of experts in logistic industries who has a lot of experience, sales and operation,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So we hire also those people to grow into that kind of more bigger kind of market opportunity.
Right. Right. Fantastic. No, this is great. I think you're doing some amazing things,
Thank you.
and I'm really excited. Any final thoughts that you want to leave us with to sort of lay out your plans for LinkedIn?
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, I'm so excited to share our story, and thank you very much for listening to my story. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, our vision actually is not just to sell this robot, but we are trying to help the people, help the quality of life. Instead of focusing like a mundane, tough task, we want people kind of focus more on valuable work. It's more intellectual work. We are not try to replace human forces, but rather we want
Mhm.
to assist the human with this robot. So that way, and that's our vision, and we believe ourselves to become eventually one of top players in service robotics area. So I wish you also see that vision with us together.
Absolutely. I certainly, after the conversation we just had, I certainly see it. And I wish you all the luck. And I hope we can get you the resources you need to keep going on that journey. So thank you so much for coming on today. And we hope to continue the conversation in the future.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.